The Sound by Thompson. I wish you could have heard it. The shouts of jubilation and singing through tears of joy when the people came home from exile. Deliverance had come by unusual means. The Persians, led by Cyrus the Great, defeated Babylon and let God's children go back to their country, rebuild their temple, restore their way of life, and try to put things back together. Remember those 613 laws we talked about earlier? Determined not to let what had just happened happen again, some people became obsessed with the commandments, observing them more strictly, even adding to them, heaping up new rules and requirements too burdensome for anyone to bear, and imposing them on others. Some became ostentatious in our appointed feasts and showy displays of vain offerings and over-the-top convocations. Even God himself grew weary of the whole charade, wishing only for the fidelity of our hearts, not our expensive performances of worship. We were missing the point. Again. Others became complacent and fell back into our old ways. Amid all of it, barefoot and wild-haired, the prophets stood in the highways and byways, raising the alarm, channeling God's wrath, his heartache, his desperate, prodigal love, longing for us to return to him with right hearts and pure spirits. The prophets begged and screamed and tried to make us listen. But by the time Alexander the Great conquered Persia and then captured Jerusalem, their vocal cords had gone hoarse in futility. And they faded into 400 years of silence. Silence, like darkness, is an abstraction. It is invisible, untouchable, and when it's coming from God, unbearable. There is a kind of violence in it, a soundless, slammed door that suggests abandonment. Deus absconditus. Rulers came and went. The Seleucids, the Hashmoneans, and finally Rome, with her onerous taxation and violent contempt. And still, none of it was worse than the silence of God. Until one cold night in the city of David, all of that crushing absence of a divine voice, all of the bottomless spiritual darkness that enveloped the world was shattered by the cry of a baby. A song in the heavens sung to blue-collar third shift workers in the night. And later, their own voices proclaiming the news to anyone who would listen. Hope was finally here. curtain of the temple had not yet torn into, but something else was ruptured. Something imperceptible yet momentous was punched through with light and possibilities previously unthinkable. I wish you could have heard it. Actually, you can. The piercing rapture of that baby's voice, cutting through air thick with the smell of straw and barn animals and blood, proclaims itself ceaselessly the world over, inviting you to step through the door first opened by that tiny gasp of breath. It is everywhere and all around you, forever extending and amplifying the song of the angels, whose simple message was, don't be afraid. We have good news. It's about great joy, and it's for all people. For you and everyone you know and don't know. Whoever has been or ever will be. It's about a Savior. In the form of the most vulnerable thing on earth. A newborn infant in a place you'd least expect to find him. Whoever you are, whether you know it or not, he's the one you've been waiting